is unfortunate. Wow, no books were damaged. Anyways, hey guys, in today's video I will be telling you all the books that I read in June and my July TBR. I did the same exact video last month. I told you last month it's probably going to be a monthly routine. Here we are. I actually don't know the exact number of books that I read. It was definitely more than last month. I think last month I only read like 4 books. I read 8 books in June. That's pretty good. That's like, I think the most books that I've ever read in a month is 8. So hopefully I'll go above 8 this month. That's my goal. Let's just get on into all the books that I read in June. So I'm showing you this one on my iPad because I read it on Kindle Unlimited and I actually do not have a Kindle yet. That is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I rated that book a 5 stars on Goodreads, but you can't like rate it 4.5 or anything on Goodreads. But I think I would give it like a 4.5. I think that's what I gave it. I'm not sure. I really enjoyed it. If you don't know about The Serpent and the Wings of Night, I think that there's supposed to be 6 books in it and there's 2 that are out and there's 1 novella. Basically it's about, there's vampires in it and then there's humans and then they go through a Kajari, which is kind of like the Hunger Games. It's like different trials and everything, and you're following Araya, and she is human, but she is the daughter of Vincent, who is like the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Hayaj, it's like H-I-A-J. There's like a few different types of vampires and he's the king of the Hayaj. Anyways, they're like in rule right now and she's going through the Kajari to like be more powerful so they can like both rule. But then there's like a love interest that is in the Kajari with her and they form an alliance and you see that, and then there's this big plot twist at the end of the book. Came out of nowhere. I was like, okay. But yeah, it was really good. I definitely recommend it if you haven't read it already. It's such a good like fantasy, and I don't think I've read any books with vampires in it other than like Twilight, but like, you know. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and I definitely recommend it. The next book that I read is 6 Scorched Roses, which I also read on Kindle Unlimited, and I rated that a 4 stars. It was a novella in between The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the next book of that series. I think it's called The Crowns of Nyaxia, something like that. I have never liked a novella this much. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a novella to introduce these 2 new characters, so you're not following any characters other than the same world from The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Like, it's in the same world, but you're not following those characters, and they're introducing these characters for the next book, and I really enjoyed their story. It follows Lilith and Vale. Lilith is a human and like her whole little town is like cursed by their god, and so there's this like plague of sickness that's cursing their whole town, and then her sister has the sickness, and so she's a scientist, Lilith is, and she's trying to find a cure for this sickness before her sister passes away from it. So she goes to this well-known vampire that everyone stays away from, Vale. She goes to him and they make up a deal. I think it's like every month. It's like once a month she comes and takes his blood to like study it and try to make a cure from it. And then she brings him like a rose to like trade off because he's like a collector of stuff. And you just see them kind of like progress in their relationship. In the beginning I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I did not like it that much in the beginning, but I really enjoyed this book so much. It's really short too, obviously, because it's a novella, and then at the end you kind of like, something happens at the end and then they make a decision, and then you can start The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and then, you know, it just like all carries through in that little series. And once again, recommend it because first book, so good. The novella, literally amazing. I love her writing. It's a type of fantasy where you can get into it and just follow along with it because it's so easy to read. You kind of learn like how everything is throughout the book, and you don't just like get a lot of details of how everything is and how the world is in the beginning where it's like, oh my gosh, get on with the story. Like, you're just in the story and you kind of learn it as it goes, and I love that. It's so easy to read. But yeah, 4 stars. The next book that I read is not on Kindle Unlimited, and it is The Queen of Nothing. Now these 3 books, if you watched my Reading for 24 Hours video, which if you haven't, you should totally go do that. These were all the books that I read in the 24-hour video. I rated this book a 5 stars. It was so good. Oh my gosh. I think I definitely would have enjoyed it a lot better if I would have like not been super tired because I was reading for 24 hours. If I was more awake in this, I probably would have cried at a few parts, but because I was so tired, I was just like, wow, that's crazy. And I did not cry at all. But I really enjoyed this. This was the last book of the Folk of Air series, aka the Cruel Prince series. I call it the Cruel Prince series sometimes. But I can't say anything about this book without spoiling anything from the other 2 books of the Folk of Air series. But I really enjoyed how it picked up from The Wicked King, which is the second book right before this. I really enjoyed like everything about this book. Oh my gosh, I can't decide between this book or The Wicked King being my favorite book of this series, but I enjoyed it, and the end, it was so good. I would say that this book has the most romance in it. There's still not a lot. The Folk of Air series isn't really romance, it's more fantasy, world building, you know, plots, all that type of stuff. And there's a subplot of romance, but it's not even like a subplot on most of the books. It's just like little bits and pieces. And this book, you get like the main romance parts, and I ate it up. I loved it so much, and I am so happy that I picked up this series. I really want to read the other books. There is, I forget the exact name, but I know there's The Stolen Heir, which I want to read, and then there's the other one that's like The Wicked King of Elfame or something. Whatever. If you know, you know. I want to read that book. Anyways, the next book I read was Defy Me, which is a part of the Shatter Me series. I do not know which book this is in the series because there's so many books in the Shatter Me series, including the novellas, which I do read the novellas. And I gave this a 4 stars. Once again, I will not be able to tell you everything that happens in this book without spoiling the other books in the Shatter Me series. But I just want to say that I'd say out of all the books I read the Shatter Me series, because it's so long, you have so many opportunities to have different plot twists and all that stuff. There is so many plot twists in the Shatter Me series. Oh my gosh, this book, Defy Me and Restore Me, has like the most plot twists and like unveiling of certain things that have happened. The amount of times that my jaw was on the floor while reading this book. I love the Shatter Me series. I'm almost done with it, but I do not want to finish the last 2 books because I've been reading it for so long. I've just been putting off finishing it because I just love it so much. I don't want it to end. The next book is Every Summer After, and I've had this book on my shelf for like a year, and I finally picked it up while I was on vacation. In this book, you follow, I totally forgot the girl's name. You follow Percy and Sam throughout the book, and it is a past and present timeline chapters, so like it switches every chapter to past and present, and it like leads up to the end of like what their falling out was. I think that they hadn't seen each other for, it was either 7 or 17 years. I know that it was a long time. So Percy just moved to this like lake house, and her neighbor is Sam, and you see them like becoming friends, you know, they're neighbors, they hang out, but she only goes there over the summer, so they hang out every single summer, and you just see them every single summer, from friends to more, and then it leads up to what happened as they're falling out. And then in the present timeline, you see them seeing each other again, and Percy revisits because Sam's mom had passed away. That's why they see each other again, and you see them in the present, and they still have this connection that they just cannot deny for each other. And reading that, I definitely felt their connection, and I was just getting like frustrated though, because it's like, I need to know what happened. Like, why are you guys not together? Why have y'all wasted so many years when it's clear y'all are like meant for each other? That's the only thing I don't like about these type of books where it's like past and present and falling out, you know? I don't know, they're definitely not my favorite. But in the end, you figure out what happened. I did not like what happened, but I will not say anything else about that. I rated this book a 4 stars. It was a good summer read if you do want a cute little summer romance and you do like the past and present timeline, friends to lovers, second chance. I would recommend this book for that. It's a good summer book. The next book I read is Practice Makes Perfect. Oh my gosh. This is the first Sarah Adams book that I've read, and I loved it so much. I really enjoyed her writing. This is actually, I don't know if it's the second book to When in Rome, but I know that When in Rome, these characters are in it, and then this book you see their story. I did not know that until I was already reading it, so I was like, dang, I guess I'll just finish this and then I'll read When in Rome. But basically you follow Annie and Will, and it's, I want to say like good girl, bad boy. She's literally known for being like sweet and everything, and she is that girl of her little small town, doesn't cuss and cutesy clothes and owns a flower shop, so good girl. And then Will is the bodyguard to her brother's fiance, and so they've like seen each other, and she has had this like crush on him, and then it is dual point of view, so you see in his head that he's always like had a thing for her a little bit too. They first meet whenever she's on this date, but the date goes horribly. She's not good at dating, and Will ends up showing up there, and you know, they talk a little bit, and he walks her out to her car, and that was so cute. And then they see each other because he's Amelia's bodyguard, obviously, like they see each other, and they come up with this deal where he's gonna like coach her, like her dating coach, where they go on dates with each other, and they like, he basically is training her to date. I loved Will. He was so sweet, and I rated this a 5 stars on Goodreads, but I would say it's a 4.5. I don't think it was 5-star material, but like I said, Goodreads, doesn't do half stars. But yeah, this was a 4.5 and I cannot wait to read some more of Sarah Adams' stuff. Next book, Crown of Midnight. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, and I have been reading the Throne of Glass series. I just love Sarah J. Maas's writing, so I figured I'd pick up Throne of Glass. And once again, I cannot say a lot about this because I will spoil some stuff in Throne of Glass. But I really, really enjoyed this. It picks up like right where it leaves off in Throne of Glass. I was really interested to see this plot, kind of, is what it is, carried on from the last book. And I really enjoyed seeing more of the characters. In this one, it is third person. So it's like a narrator, and like every chapter or each little, like, I don't know what those would be called, but the mid-chapter little section off things, it would like switch to a different person's head. So throughout this book, you literally get to see almost everybody's point of view. I don't know if Throne of Glass was like that, but I feel like it was only in Selena's point of view. So this was definitely different. I didn't like it in the beginning because I don't think I've ever read a book like that, but I actually really enjoyed it because you get to see what every single character is thinking for like almost every moment, and I really enjoyed that, especially with like the guy characters. I did see a few spoilers on TikTok. The ending was kind of spoiled for me, but the ending would have been so good if it wasn't. I rated this a 4.75 because it was so good. It wasn't 5-star material, but I feel like the next books in the Throne of Glass series are going to be 5 stars because this was so good. Like, as soon as I finished it, I wanted to give it 5 stars, but like looking back on it, it's like a 4.75. But yeah, I cannot wait to continue Throne of Glass series because I love the characters and the plot and just the world. I love it so far, and I'm only on the second book. That says a lot about Sarah J. Maas's writing. The next and final book that I read this month is just a little novella, part of the Shatter Me series. It was Reveal Me, so it's like the second half of this book. I rated this a 3 stars. It follows Kenji's point of view, like right at the end of Defy Me, and then you read this and it follows like right at the end. I like the first part of this Find Me. I like Shadow Me better than Reveal Me. I don't know, it was just like repeating a lot of the same things that he felt. Honestly, I feel like I'd give it a 2.75 just because of like, I feel like he was just repeating the same exact things that was in the first novella of this, so it was really repetitive. But I do like seeing him and this other character's relationship in his head. It's so cute and adorable. But yeah, 2.75, 3 stars-ish. And that was all the books that I read in June, and now we are getting on to my July TBR. So following up from the last book is Imagine Me, which is the last like thick book of the Shatter Me series. I just really want to read this because, like I said, the novella before this, what happened, I just like need to know what happened, and I've seen a lot of people rate this 5 stars, and I'm just really excited to be back in this universe. I took a big break after Ignite Me, and I recently started reading Restore Me, Defy Me, Imagine Me now, and I am almost done with the series. Love this series. I'd say it's a 5-star series because the beginning feels like a totally different world than what it is right now. Like I said, there's so many plot twists and things being unveiled. It's just crazy, and I love this series so much. And then of course Believe Me, which is the last final thing of the Shatter Me series, the last novella. It's a cute little short book to finish up the series. But yeah, I really want to try to finish the Shatter Me series this month. Next is Heir of Fire, which is the next book to the Throne of Glass series. I really want to read this book. I need to know what happens after the last one ended. Like, I need to know what's going on. Also, I love these covers. These are like the ones that are sold in store now. I know she redid her covers, but there are so many like special edition different colors of the Throne of Glass series. It's insane. But yeah, I definitely feel like this series is going to be 5-star series just like ACOTAR, and I'm so excited to keep reading it because of the characters and the plot and just this whole world. I love it so much, and I just can't wait to keep reading it. Next is Dance of Thieves, and if you watch my last video, you'll see that I just bought this a few days ago, or like a week ago-ish, and I just really want to read it. This has been on my TBR for like ever, and I'm obviously in my fantasy era, so I feel like I really need to read this. The main thing that I know about this is that it's fantasy, it's young adult, and there's an enemies to lovers in it. My friend read this and she was saying how much she loved it, and we have like kind of the same book taste, so I know I'm gonna love it, and I cannot wait to read it. I think that there's 2 books. I know there's 2 books out, but I don't know if it's only gonna be a duology or if there's more books that are supposed to come out. Couldn't tell you. The next book, Once Upon a Broken Heart. This book I just recently bought, and I have been wanting to read it so bad, but like I've had other books that I needed to read for like videos, and some books I wanted to finish before I started this book, but I want to read it so freaking bad because this book and The Ballad of Never After, which is the next one, and A Curse for True Love, I guess, is the third one. You follow Evangeline Fox, and basically I think that she's like in love with this guy, but he's destined to marry another, so she's like trying to stop the wedding, strikes up a deal with the Prince of Hearts. I'm just really excited to read this book. I really want to read it. The last physical book on my TBR, A Court of Silver Flames. Now, it is the last book of the ACOTAR series that is out. I've heard that there's more books coming out for that series in 2025, but I love ACOTAR so much, and like I said in my last video, I feel like I can't be an ACOTAR super fan without reading the entire series. So I really just want to read this. I want to get back into the world. I've been wanting to reread ACOTAR, but I'm like, you can't even reread ACOTAR if you haven't even finished the last book. I really want to get back into this world. I know some things that happen in this book because I got spoiled a little bit, but I know it is in third person, I think, and it follows Nesta, but I just really want to get back into this series so bad. Another book that is on my TBR is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is on Kindle Unlimited, and I have started reading that already. I think I'm like 30% into it. I'm trying to finish that book, and then I really want to pick up this book next. That is my goal. In my notes app, I have my July TBR, and it's all the books that are either ones that I want to buy or the ones that are on Kindle Unlimited. First off is Magnolia Parks. I've heard that people either hate this book or they love it. Hoping I'm gonna love it. It's definitely a complicated one. I've heard it has like Gossip Girl vibes, and I have not finished Gossip Girl, but I am watching it currently. Next is When in Rome, because like I said, I read Practice Makes Perfect, and I really want to read When in Rome. It follows Amelia and what is the guy's name? Noah. It's Noah. Why did I want to say Miles? Anyway, it follows Amelia and Noah, which is Annie's brother is Noah. So I will see some of Annie and Will in that book before they're together, but I've already read the one where they're together. Anyways, I just want to read it. Next is Flawless, which is the first book to the Chestnut Springs series, and I also really want to read that. If these books sound familiar, I'm getting most of them from like Sarah Caroli. These are like her favorite series, and she's talked so good about them for like so long. I just really need to read them, and I've heard so many good things from other people also about the Chestnut Springs series, so I just really want to get into that. I was looking at the synopsis on Goodreads, and it says there's one bed. Let me go to Amazon right now and order this book. The next book is another country one that I've heard people recently talking about. It's on Kindle Unlimited, Done and Dusted. Also don't know what it's about. I know it's like a short little country book, romance book. I know the cover everyone is obsessing over, me being one of them. It is so cute. I literally love the cover, but I don't have anything else to say about it because that's all I know. The cover is cute, and that it's country, and it's romance, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. And the last book on my July TBR is Binding 13. I think it's called the Boys of Toman series, but I really want to read that, and I'm getting that inspo from Destiny Sidwell, which is another one of my favorite booktubers. Oh my gosh, I want to read that series so bad. I feel like I would really enjoy it. Like I've heard the same thing as Magnolia Parks, you either hate it or love it. I've never heard like an in-between rating, so hopefully I will be on the love side. But yeah, those are all the books that I've read in June and that I want to read in July. Hopefully I will stick to my TBR this month. Last month, my June TBR, honestly, don't think I read a single one. That's besides the point. I feel like my TBR is more of books that I really want to read and the genres that I really want to get into, new series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really love these new monthly traditions of me talking about all these books. Subscribe if you haven't already, like this video, comment whatever you want, new video ideas, anything. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye!